With the release of Fang Yi, we can all agree that she's one of the strongest characters we've seen in the game. And one of the strongest factors with Fang Yi is that she's just simple to use and you get a lot of good returns from it. Now, is she just the perfect character though? Actually, no, because there are some minor issues with her for sure. But in any case, today, we're going to be taking a look at the updated tier list and check out how the meta is evolving to be. I think we're definitely seeing a pattern here, with Endfield trying to at least have one team for each element, and the electric team just got released basically. In any case though, let's just jump right in. I do hope this video serves as a discussion for everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Just real quick before we start, if you're looking to be spending money on the game anyways, I've got a pretty good deal for you. Introducing Loot Bar, which is a website I use often for literally just cheaper top-ups for games like Arknights and Endfield. The website's simple. It offers cheaper pricing for the same bundles in the game. You can check how much you're saving right beside the price tag. You actually could save a lot, up to 26% in total if you claim new user coupons using my link in the description. So it's just a deal that you don't want to miss out. Do not worry as well, because it's not too big of a hassle to set up. Simply click my link in the description, register an account if you don't have it yet, browse and choose any bundle, including even some custom ones that Loot Bar provides, complete the payment, choose self top up, log into your account. Now this is secured since it is set up as a one-time cloud device, so you don't gotta worry about that. You'll then see your account in-game on the browser, go to the store and click on the bundle you purchased. You'll be able to redeem it right away, and voila, you'll have your resources. Then simply log out, your data will be automatically cleared. Of course, you may have some doubts, but I do find Loot Bar 100% trustworthy, given I myself used it for the past year with no issues, and tons of other creators are using Loot Bar too. It has a high score in Trustpilot too, with thousands of good reviews from customers. Loot Bar is a pretty recognized name these days, and they even have official CD key sales among other services provided for a long time now. You can actually get up to 50% off plus cashback for popular Steam games like Arknights, so I genuinely don't think you gotta worry about Loot Bar. They've been around the block. If you're topping out anyway, why not give it a try? Use my link in the description, and yeah, you'll support me directly too. I appreciate that, and let's get back into the video. Now, to start us off with Privin's tier list, we'll be taking a look at what they think, and obviously I'll be sharing my own thoughts and my own personal list as well. In any case though, do just understand that with this game, every single team really in the game can beat everything, and there's not too much of a time intensive thing with the game that you have to beat stuff within 30 seconds or something like that. So this tier list is mostly just for an idea of what the performance of the characters are. Can you beat them all with your favorite team even they're at tier 1? Of course you can. With that said, let's just start with the damage dealer in tier 0, and we're definitely gonna be talking about the new character that just got placed at tier 0 with Fang Yi. This one's simple, right? Her damage output is ridiculously high. I'm pretty sure at the ceiling of her damage, you can out damage any other damage dealer with Fang Yi. She has a really broken immunity to damage that can proc without cooldown. It's like a fixed chance that it happens every time she gets hit. She has a self-heal that has cooldown that could trigger if she triggers the damage immunity, which overall just means she can be walking through enemies' damage output and still be potentially fine sometimes. This can be like a lifesaver, especially in modes like Umber Monument, where I personally have tried with a Fang Yi at really low health, and I don't tell myself, okay, I gotta chill a little bit. I'm like, I'll try and evade. If I can't, I might just trigger the damage immunity and still live anyway. And hey, if I do lose, I'll just try it again. With a lucky enough damage immunity trigger, she can actually do way better in terms of survival. That's assuming the boss even survives her. Her damage output is really high, especially once you get 9 Thunderblades in, which makes her secret to maximize Fang Yi to max the Thunderblades on the field. That's really not that hard to do, but I would say the one weakness with Fang Yi would be exactly that. You have to get to 9 Thunderblades and get her ultimate, and that isn't like the fastest process. Is it absolutely slow though? It definitely isn't, right? But she does have a little bit of a lengthy warm-up period where you want to get the Thunderblades up, you want to get her ult again, and then you can go with her ult. And the moment she does though, her ult's damage is no complaints. It's just really high. So for her to be tier 0, I think it's very much fair. It's a character that's really broken for damage output and for just utility, survival, everything like that, but doesn't mean she is without weakness, which I think is awesome. I don't want every other character to just be compared and suddenly you have this perfect character that has no weakness, right? So I think Fang Yi is fine. She's still considered really strong anyway, even in tier 0, so that's why I say I do recommend everybody picking up a strong Fang Yi if you want something simple and strong. To take a look at all the other characters though, they're all valid tier 0 options, and I do notice that all of them have stuff that they're really good at doing. For instance, with Yvonne with single target damage bursting, she is very strong in that regard. Bossy's in a similar situation as well, except she deals mixed damage instead of just one element or one physical damage, right? She just does both. And Levitating is like a mix of AoE situations and single target as well. She can deal with both. Each of them excel in some form of content or some form of situations over the other. And I think they're all tier 0 though for sure. And that makes the big 4 of the Arknights Endfield meta. These 4 teams are definitely the strongest ones right now. In terms of the enabler, nothing much said. It's Tang Tang. Really great for any cryo teams, which is why we'll just move on to the buffer, which we see Gilberta and Polgra Nishnik. Again though, nothing too much to be said here. Polgra is still really good for any physical setups, and Gilberta is probably the strongest buffer in the game right now with a lot of utility and a lot of teams usable with her. It does feel like the game is skewing towards more of an arts direction right now with Zhuang Fangyi. They're probably trying to have one team for every single element, so I do expect nature element to be the next element that has like a full team. I do believe that's the only element left that doesn't have a full-fledged solid usable team right now, and Gilberta being a nature inflictor probably is still really good for the coming nature team. For every other team though, anything that needs reaction, Gilberta is there. Anything that needs gathering, Gilberta is there. She's just going to be tier 0 for a while in my opinion. Now tier 0.5 is where I will say some things I would maybe move around. For Lashlight, nope, nothing to move around. I do think she's exactly at tier 0.5, especially with more characters and more damage dealers being released now. I would say Lashlight isn't exactly competing at tier 0. The moment it's AoE though, her functionality does decrease a lot. As for the enablers, we do see Chen Xianyu, Li Feng, and Wolfguard. For Chen and Li Feng, they're both really good for solo physical. For Wolfguard though, he's actually here now, especially because of Rossi, right? Being one of the best partners with Rossi, Wolfguard has seen a lot more usage, and I would say he deserves a tier higher, where he may have been considered tier 1 before. And as for the buffers though, this is where I might actually start moving a character around, and that character being PERLICA. I personally think PERLICA is good enough to even be considered tier 0 now, mainly because of all the characters that got released that just uses PERLICA perfectly. We do have Rossi, one of the best Rossi teams that's just so nice to use, does include PERLICA. Obviously, we do also have Zhuang Fangyi that uses PERLICA like it's just guaranteed. They're partners in crime. PERLICA's value is actually really high these days, and her own damage output on top of the utility that she brings is nothing to scoff at. Her damage on her ult is actually pretty good as well. So I do actually think I would personally put PERLICA at tier 0's enabler slot. I do think PERLICA can actually do both of enabling and having buffs or having damage amplification for the team. And because of the recent characters that all wouldn't mind, or some really does prioritize having PERLICA on the squad, she's the best free-to-play character right now in my opinion. As for the other free-to-play option like Ardelia, I do think she still is good. It's just that I would say there are better options, and Ardelia is more like the general option that if you don't have the perfect stuff, you can always go for Ardelia. Then as for good old Akikuri and Zaihi, they're both in tier 0.5 without much changes. They're both really good characters for their respective teams. Moving on to tier 1 though, this is where I would also move some characters around. I would say for the damage dealers, I won't be moving any one of them. Aviwena though, as the main damage dealer, yeah, it would be T1, but if she is considered as a sub damage dealer like an enabler for Zhuang Fangyi, I suppose she's kind of still just T1. She's kind of a mixed bag, right? You can't just say she's a good enabler because she isn't exactly the best, but her damage has a sub DPS and some form of enabling the team with her electric susceptibility on the ultimate and her 1 electric infliction. It does help someone like Zhuang Fangyi for sure, but overall I do think Avi at tier 1's fair enough. As for the enablers though, this is where I would say I actually would want to move Arknight and Lesh maybe a tier higher, or at the very least the top of tier 1, right? And it's just because of Zhuang Fangyi. Zhuang Fangyi did show us the importance of SP with her release as well. SP has been a really important part for any teams really, but this is the first time that we actually see a character use so much SP that you need 2 really consistent SP generators to just keep the boss character up, like Zhuang Fangyi during her ultimate, right? You just want to give her the SP she needs and she'll shine. And given someone like Alesh is actually still very much used in cryo teams like Yvonne cryo teams, even Last Shrike cryo team, I do actually think Alesh could be considered tier 0.5 just for how much he's being used right now. And it just goes to show the meta would change depending on like the teams that's available to a character and the characters that a best team for a certain strong character would need. I personally would want to move him above the tier 0.5, but maybe tier 1 is still fair, because in the end, let's remember, Alesh doesn't have much of any buffing capabilities, right? It's mostly just SP regen. He does have decent damage on his own though, and that's the same case with Arknight, though Arknight is not at the same magnitude as Alesh, because Arknight's only job is to be used in a Fangyi team and that's it. And for that, I would say Arknight is fair to be in tier 1 still, maybe high tier 1 because Fangyi just dragged her into the spotlight now, but Alesh, used in multiple different teams, it's like a dark horse character. You look at him, you don't think you're gonna prioritize building the guy, but he's actually used in a lot of mainstream teams. As for Amber and Snowshine, nothing much to be said with these two at the moment. And as for Antal, I do think the same for Antal as as I do with someone like Arknights. Antal's value just got increased really much because of Fang Yi. Antal can be used with Fang Yi for sure for really good single target damage output, and he definitely does come with copy of an infliction stat, which Fang Yi would welcome as well. But is Antal at the level of tier 0.5 though? I don't think so, but high tier 1, higher than before 100% thanks to Fang Yi's release. And as for the rest of the list, we do see the normal stuff now. Someone like Estella and Fluorite, and of course we got the catcher down at the bottom. I do think these are fair enough to say, but maybe moving Fluorite to tier 1 would be someone's opinion for sure, because Fluorite is actually used quite well in an Yvonne team. Compared to Estella and catcher, I do think Fluorite has way more use case, right? So I personally might have Fluorite be put in tier 1, but they're not too far around. It's that area for sure, right? I wouldn't say she's top tier. One of her biggest issues is definitely the lack of buffing capabilities. But for an Yvonne team though, she kind of just needs to be there to put the inflictions on. And that is pretty much it for the updated tier list. I do think most of them are pretty much around the same range as I would rank them myself. The one thing is maybe putting PERLICA on tier 0 just for how usable and how many strong teams that she's enabling. If anything, one of the strongest strong Fang Yi teams needs a PERLICA. That's how strong this free character is. I would maybe put Alesh in tier 0.5 for at least right now and have Arknights stay in tier 1. But I do see Alesh staying tier 1 anyway, because if you look at it objectively, he gives you SP. And that'll be pretty much it for the Fang Yi update character tier list. I will cover the team tier list as well, but it's pretty much the same as before anyway, except with the addition of Fang Yi in tier 0, right? So pretty much to be said about that. I do think I find this agreeable. There's not enough teams really in the game and not enough hard endgame modes to discern too many tiers in the team tier list. They're all really good teams that can clear a lot of content. Maybe not the Estella cryo physical one. I'm sure it can beat stuff, but it's not gonna be as easy as just using anything above them, and anything above them can definitely beat anything. Some takes longer, some takes shorter time. And that is pretty much it for the tier list. Let me know what you think, and that'll be all. Take care.